That's my last week. The arrow on the bottom, you see, that's the lowest point, as the gentlemen were talking. That's the lowest point in the recorded history of the border. This was done by Border Patrol. This wasn't done by Trump. This was done by Border Patrol working with ICE and law enforcement. And that's what we're going to do. Again, if you take a look, interestingly, at all of the wall that's laying on its side, that could have been put up in a matter of weeks. It was all set to go. It was all cut out. And if you look at the top of the mountain behind us, it was all shaped, all ready to go. Could have been put up in a few weeks. Much of it's been sold for 5 cents on the dollar. It's very expensive. I worked with Border Patrol very closely. We worked, Brandon, we worked with all of Paul, all of your people. And we wanted to design something that worked. And we actually had mountain climbers. We even had drug climbers. They call them drug climbers. They can get over a wall like so incredible with 75 pounds of drugs on their back. They can climb up things. And we designed this after looking at a lot of different designs. And that's an anti-climb panel that makes it very tough for somebody to climb. This was the one they wanted. A little more expensive version, but this is the one that's a very important panel on top. And it's called anti-climb. And this was put in here just to shade us because there's a lot of rough people on the other side. So I figured you're the media, you want to be shaded. This gets taken off. This is just temporary to shade us from potential hazard. We know about hazards. But all of this wall was built at great expense, and all it had to be, erected. We just had to be stood up on its end, concrete on the bottom, goes down 6 feet. That also went down and shielded from tunnels because we went down about as far as it's practical for them to go down. They build tunnels under walls. We went down pretty deep. We'd go down a lot deeper than the wall, made it very tough for them. And we stopped that, and we stopped people from coming over. But when they refused to, I built hundreds of miles of this, by the way, as far as the eye can see. You look at the other direction, as far as the eye could see. And then I'd hear people say, oh, he didn't build the wall. We built the wall. We built much more than I was anticipated to build. And we were going to build an extra 200 miles. Much of this is that, which is much more than I said I was going to do, because as we built it, they would go around the edges. So we were going further and further out, and it worked. We had the best numbers ever, and we had them largely because of the wall and also because the Mexican military helped us, which they never helped at any time. They never helped. And we were very proud of it. So we went from the best numbers in recorded history to the worst numbers in recorded history or any other history. And we have a Marxist that's running, and I don't think you can let her. This country is not ready for a Marxist president. She will never build the wall. She doesn't want to build the wall. She's only saying if she changes her mind, it's only because she wants to get elected, because who wouldn't want to have a strong border? You need strong borders and strong elections, and we have neither. But we're going to have very strong borders, and we're going to have very strong elections soon. The people are fed up. It's common sense. The people are just fed up. And you saw it. Everybody coming from the airport saw the thousands and thousands of people lined up. It looked like Lindbergh coming in from what he did at the time, Broadway. It was amazing when you see all those people it was a long drive from the airport, and so many thousands and thousands of people. The people in my car say, I've never seen anything like that. We're in the middle of an area that's not well populated, and to have thousands of people like that is pretty unbelievable. I hope you got to see it. And I hope the press writes this story fairly, because it's a story of disgrace. We had a border czar who was the border czar. She loved the title, but she didn't want to do the work because she's lazy. And probably more importantly than being lazy, she wants to have an open border. And you say, who would want an open border where criminals can pour into our country? And all you have to do is walk up there, if you have the courage to do it, and go to that open section. Stand there for a little while. You'll be running back here very quickly. You really have to write this fairly, this story, because you people don't want to talk about the border. You don't want to talk about the bad things that are going on in our country. We're going to end up not having a country. You're not going to have any media. We don't have media. They don't have media. They do their own media. They don't need media. But you really should cover this story fairly. Before I begin, I have some, I think, very good words on the border and what to do and how to solve the problem. We had it solved. All they had to do is leave it. Leave it. Just leave it. But before I begin, I want to address the fake job numbers on top of everything else, fellas. Fake jobs. The fake job numbers that the Harris-Biden administration has been reporting for the last year. Thanks to a leaker yesterday, meaning probably in this case a patriot, they were forced to release numbers. They claimed falsely that they created 818,000 jobs. So they said they did almost 1 million jobs, 818,000 jobs that actually didn't exist. They were phantom jobs. They're called phantom jobs. The reason they did that is because I was even a little surprised their job numbers look better because I know the economy's lousy. Everyone here knows it's lousy. These people behind me know it's lousy. We have the worst inflation, I believe, in the history of our country, and that's absolutely killing people. But it's 818,000 jobs, almost 1 million, and these are just the jobs we found out about. There's a lot of other false things that now are being looked at. That number will increase. So they reported false numbers, and this isn't a revision. There's never been anything like this. This is a fraud put out by Harris and by Biden, and they were going to release the real numbers. It's called a revision after the election, but it got found out before the election, and I hope you're going to write about it, but it's a big story, and it's a story that's going to be going very far. There are people very upset about it, including government officials are very upset about it. Even people that are Democrats are because it's a pure fraud. You know, when you have a revision, you have a few jobs one way or the other, and they get it straight at the end of the month. But this one was sheltered for a long time, and they wanted to release it after November 5th. I wonder why, when it didn't really matter too much. But even then it mattered. But so I hope you're going to report it. Almost 1 million jobs were phantom jobs. They were fake jobs, just like a lot of reporting is fake. And I hope you're going to report it because people have to hear it. They didn't want these numbers to come out, and they did come out, and I really, the whistleblower or whoever it was that got them to have to do it, somebody today, a high official said, well, we don't really believe those numbers because Trump gave them. I didn't give them. I got them from the administration, from the Labor Bureau, and these are the stats that were just let out. In fact, officially, I mean, they just came out. They were released officially released. Those are official numbers. Has nothing to do with me. I just happen to be playing the role of a reporter for a change. But I hope you're going to do something with it because I think it's a serious thing. It's the same as everything else. And I'm so glad that we decided to do this. It's a little dangerous to do. I hate to tell you, you guys are in danger with the kind of weaponry that we have, but I felt it was important to do. And this kind of stuff that they put up to shield us, I'm going to make you feel not so good. It doesn't mean a thing compared to what comes through there, but at least they can't see you. But it's dangerous territory, and these people have an unbelievable courage. The Border Patrol, ICE, the police, local law enforcement, unbelievable. I don't even know how they do it. They talk about, I was courageous. These people are courageous. They go through this every day. And the amount of horrible injuries sustained in fights and shootings are just incredible. Not reported, but incredible. We're here today on the southern border in Arizona where Comrade Kamala Harris, I call her comrade because she is a radical left Marxist. She wants open borders. She wants our country. I don't understand why anybody would want it, but she wants our country to be open to the world's criminals so they can come in and rape and pillage and do whatever they have to do. But she's the most radical left person who has ever run for high political office in our country's history. And by the way, the governor, who's done a poor job as governor, Minnesota, Walz, he's done a poor job, very poor job. His numbers are horrible. People are fleeing his state. I love his state. We should have won his state twice. but a lot of hanky-panky goes on there. Hasn't been one since 1972. Richard Nixon was the last one to win it. But every time I go in there, we have massive crowds and everything's good, but nobody seems to be able to win it. So I know why we didn't win it. People don't like to talk about it. But he's a horrible governor, has bad job numbers, bad numbers for leaving, a lot of people leaving the state. And he's insisted, he put a bill. I'm sure the sheriffs would be very happy when they hear this. He signed a bill fairly recently where boys' bathrooms have to have tampons in boys' bathrooms. I don't even like to bring the subject up, but it's a subject you have to hear about. That's what he wants. He's a radical left guy who lied like hell last night, and she'll lie tonight. We're doing a review of her tonight on Truth because she'll lie just like the rest of them lied. They talked about what I said about soldiers. I never said anything. I love our soldiers. They made the story up. It was fiction. We had 26 people countering it, but nobody cares. They made up everything, so many different stories. They made up about Project 25. They've been told officially, legally, in every way that we have nothing to do with Project 25. They know it, but they bring it up anyway. They bring up every single thing that you can bring up. Every one of them was false. He brought them up. But they've unleashed a deadly plague of migrant crime on our country by not doing their job. And all of that plank and all of that very expensive wall, it's also got tremendous electronic capability inside of it. It's got wires for cameras and everything else that you can have. It's the Rolls-Royce of walls, I can tell you. It's very hardened steel outside, 7,000-pound concrete inside, and rebar inside of the concrete, all different, all very hard to get through. And it's sad to see it sitting here, and we have crime going on up the road. In this direction, it's as far as you can see his wall. We have no problem there, but they come in where they refuse to put it up. That was when I first realized that they want open borders. I thought nobody could be so foolish or stupid to want open borders and have the world's population, the world's criminal population pour into our country. That's what's happening. But it shattered so many families' lives and stolen so many incredible young lives. And it's also really badly hurt our black population and our Hispanic population because these people are taking their jobs. The jobs now are down, way down for the black population and the Hispanic population because we have millions of illegal aliens that have poured into our country. They've taken the jobs of African Americans and Hispanics. And that was obvious to me. Next is going to be unions. You watch. The unions are going to start going wild because those jobs are going to be taken too. We're honored to really be here with these incredible people, and in particular with some grieving families. And this is a group of people that I've gotten to know. They're incredible people. They've lost a loved one, and thousands of others are out there, and they are grieving also. But they're not out with you and sitting in this hot sun. I will say this, that at least it gives us a good reason. We're doing something for those incredible people that we'll be talking about very shortly because we can't let it happen to other people. We can't let what you're going through happen to other families. And you know what you're going through, as we discussed, nobody's ever seen anything like it. All for no reason whatsoever. And these are hardened criminals pouring into our country. And then they always say, Sheriff, oh, the illegal immigrants don't commit crimes like people that live here. It's so wrong. They don't report them, but it's so wrong. They make our criminals look like babies. That's about the only thing good. Our criminals all of a sudden don't look so tough to us, right? These are the roughest people, and they're the roughest people from all over the world. Their jails are being emptied from all over the world. Their criminals are being taken from their cities. And by the way, their crime rates are way down. Their crime rates came way down. Venezuela, all of these countries, their crime rates are down. Their prison population's down. Soon they won't have any prison population because 100% of it will be in our country with the statement, if you ever come back, we will kill you. That's the statement they tell them. If you ever come back to Venezuela and other countries, we will kill you. But it's all over the world. The Congo in Africa, many prisoners let go from the Congo in Africa, rough prisoners. All over Europe they come, from all over, rough sections, the jails. You have to see jail populations are way down. So we've done a lot of trips to the border over the years and told a lot of stories about border victims, including the stories of the amazing angel moms who have never been appreciated. They're incredible women, what they've gone through. They're going through a similar thing. And many of them, I asked about time, but this time, because many of them, this took place a long time ago with borders and horrible people coming in. And I don't have to tell you about the crimes, but the level of viciousness of the crime was unbelievable. But they said time doesn't heal. You know, the expression time heals all wounds. It doesn't. I spoke to some people. They say they're worse now than they were 15 years ago. And this started largely during Obama. And then we stopped it. We had it stopped. And then the first day in, they just said, we're not doing anything. We're not doing anything. And all they had to do is let our people that we had in place, the best people. I was listening to people like Tom Homan, who is, just an incredible patriot, tough, smart, gets it, good man, but he's tough. I've been listening to all these people. They've been friends of mine for a long time. They know it better than anybody. But the level of criminality is unbelievable. It's an onslaught of violence at a level that nobody's ever seen before. For nearly 4 years, as border czar, Comrade Kamala has overseen a nation-wrecking border invasion. This is nation-wrecking. This isn't just like, we're going to fix it a little bit later. Gets to a point where you can't fix it. She's allowed at least 20 million people, all illegal aliens, into our country, including millions and millions of unvetted fighting-age men from over 158 different countries. 150. Most people didn't realize you had that many countries, right? Just recently, Kamala let in the head of a Peruvian gang who was wanted for 23 murders. Welcome to the United States of America. On her orders, Border Patrol is being forced to free tens of thousands of illegal aliens from custody week after week after week. And these are very violent criminals, too. These are the most violent criminals that you'll ever see. Every day brings another story about innocent Americans being tortured, raped, murdered, and massacred by illegal aliens that Kamala Harris has set free in our country. Don't hold them, they're told. Don't hold them, let them free. They'll behave. Well, he killed 20 people. Oh, but over here it's different. Since Comrade Harris took over the border, there has been a 43% nationwide increase in violent crime and a 60% increase in rape. And the FBI should be ashamed of themselves when they report numbers, because in order to keep the violence numbers down, they didn't report some of the worst cities in the country, like Chicago and others. What a disgrace. The FBI did that. In New York this June, an illegal alien released into our country by Kamala approached two 13-year-old children with a machete in broad daylight in front of other people, forced them into the woods, tied them together by the wrist, and raped them over and over again. Over and over again. Two Kamala migrants were just arrested for the rape of a 46-year-old woman in Coney Island. I know Coney Island very well. That's where I sort of started. My office was out there. Brooklyn, throwing her to the ground and raping her with a knife to her throat. One of them had previously been arrested for raping another woman, but instead of being deported, he was released into our country and told to enjoy your life. In Fort Wayne, Indiana, a woman who was offered a ride home by two illegal aliens was instead kidnapped, held down and raped, then driven around while the illegals discussed how they planned to kill her. They wanted to kill her. They didn't want to have a witness. And she miraculously escaped by throwing herself out of a rapidly moving car, was badly hurt, but she escaped. At least those people came from another country, and they were very violent, with an unbelievably violent background. Violence like you've never seen. In the Bronx recently, an illegal alien who Kamala set loose into the country approached a 36-year-old woman while pretending to ask for directions before he wrapped his arms around her throat, pinned her down on a park bench, and raped her publicly on a park bench. And she said he wasn't trying to rape me, he was trying to kill me. In Michigan earlier this year, an illegal alien broke into a residence and sexually assaulted two young girls, doing tremendous damage to these two young, beautiful girls. In Virginia, a few weeks ago, a 54-year-old mother of four was leaving a convenience store when she noticed an illegal alien trying to steal her car. When she tried to stop him, he ran her down, ran her over, and left her dead on the ground. She was dead, and her family is devastated. In Texas last month, a Venezuelan illegal alien criminal let in by Comrade Kamala shot a female police officer multiple times with a rifle. And she'll never be the same. And that's being nice about it. A few months ago, I met with the devastated family of Laken Riley, a 22-year-old nursing student who was out for a jog on the campus of the University of Georgia when she was assaulted, beaten, and horrifically murdered. Kamala Harris let in the illegal alien animal who murdered Laken. This monster was in Border Patrol custody, under very strong custody. They didn't want to let him go. But under Kamala's policies, he was set free to kill, and that's what he did. Kamala let this bloodthirsty killer go free, and then he murdered beautiful Laken, number one in her class, nursing school. Everybody aspired to be like her. She was the best student, the best everything. Beautiful girl. Then there's the heartbreaking story of Rachel Morin. And we're joined today by Patty and Michael Morin, Rachel's mother and brother. And I met with them. We had lunch. And they're devastated at a level that nobody can really imagine. Rachel was a cherished 37-year-old mom, beautiful woman of 5 incredible children who adored their mother more than anything in the world. They loved their mom. Earlier this year, while Rachel was out on a run, she wants to keep herself in good shape, and she ends up getting killed. In her neighborhood, she was brutally raped and murdered by an illegal alien who was led into America by Kamala Harris and her policies of stupidity. Savage person who committed this heinous crime first killed another woman in El Salvador before walking across our open border. Just walked right in. They didn't have this then. He then attacked a 9-year-old girl and her mother in a home invasion in Los Angeles where they were very badly hurt before murdering Rachel. And the area where Rachel lived in a very different part of this country. It was cold-blooded murder. Patty and Michael, I would just, first of all, thank you for being here. I know it's tough, but they want to let people understand what's going on here because this can't happen to other parents and sisters and brothers and husbands